so don't worry about me.
That's the coolest background. That is so cool. Oh my goodness. I'm intimidated.
Good. Be intimidated.
It's the network operating center for an AI system.
That you just straight out, you totally just brought that out of a television set. That's yeah, okay. All right, Hollywood, let's give you a nickname.
Funny you should mention that.
Yeah, I used to be the visual effects supervisor for X-Files, Stargate, Outer Limits.
You and me are going to be BFFs.
Ninja Turtles.
I used to do voiceovers for cartoons.
Oh, cool.
I did like it's a very interesting story. So I was in Malaysia, and they were looking for these expats to redub cartoons that had already been dubbed into English. Because they didn't want to pay the Screen Actors Guild. So there's a couple of cartoons where I'm like these famous actors, and the distribution company was saying, well, we're going to release this in the Middle East, Latin America, they don't speak English that well. Can't tell the difference between you and Brad Pitt. So I'm like, you guys are geniuses. It was good money. I just got to speak in stupid voice before microphone for 6 hours every day. I made like crazy money. Great.
Sounds fun.
Sounds cool.
Yeah, sounds cool.
Okay. Connect afterwards. Again. Awesome. All right. It is 2.
Sorry to disturb. I think, is it me or your voice is getting echo?
I usually speak with 2 sets of vocal cords, so yes, I do echo all the time.
Okay, no problem then.
All right. So today, folks, thank you very much for joining me. I'll give you a little bit of background on who I am, what I do, and what I've done. And then I will talk about how to destroy everyone else at the hackathon using your badass demo. First off, my name is Shaharris. That's Shah, and there's a ha-ha in there, Riss. And I have run more hackathons than I know what to do with. I've run 1,300 events in 65 cities, and I happen to be one of the judges for your hackathon. Now, I don't have the judging rubric yet, but I'm promised that I will get it at some point, right, Krishita?
Yes, you will.
Yes.
Great. And yes, I'm going to assume that whatever is on that rubric, only 5 to 10% is actually business plan, correct?
Yeah.
Great. So because I've run so many events, because I've run so many judging panels, because I am judging your hackathon, I'm here to talk to you a little bit about how to make the presentation that you demo with on hackathon day, the 29th, as effective as you possibly can. I don't use slides because I'm going to force all of you to stare at this instead of looking at slides. And there is a point to that. All right. So I've run a lot of hackathons. My very good friend, Mark Buckner, is the one who brought me in on all of this and is the reason that I'm a judge. And part of the point of this hackathon is really problem solving. And it's less so business plan, which is why I just mentioned about the judging rubric. What are we actually judging you on? So many hackathons that we see, they end up being these long, drawn out, extremely obnoxious things about, oh, the addressable market size that we have is roughly $1.3 billion. And if we just capture 1% of that market, we'll end up just, who cares? It's like made up marketing information, made up addressable market information that is irrelevant and useless in the context of solving a problem. What do I actually want to see in your demo? Well, first off, I want to see you demo. I don't want to see you talk, because it's better to show and tell rather than show rather than tell. So PTSD, that is what I want from you. Not the post-traumatic stress disorder. I want your problem. I want to understand what the problem is that you're trying to solve, who you're trying to solve the problem from. That's your target addressable market, PT. Your solution, I want to understand what exactly your solution is, how it works, and how it helps the person with the problem that they're having. And then I want you to actually demo. Problem, target, solution, demo. The most important part of a demo is to actually demo, and many people seem to forget this. They'll spend 90% of their time talking about how, The amount of money that they'll make from this is so amazing, and that's why you should invest in it. You know who's investing in you? Solve a problem. So, to that end, the most important thing for me in a demo is to be able to understand what you are saying. If you use large, complicated words, jargon, complex theorems, if you use language that I'm not used to and I don't understand you, you might sound smart to people who do understand you, but to me, I have no idea what you're talking about. I can't score you highly if I don't understand what you're trying to say to me, which is why simplicity becomes the most important thing after giving me PTSD, which your demos most certainly will. Again, not a business plan competition. Don't waste time talking about addressable market and random complications and your clever customer acquisition sneaky thing. Don't care. Solve the problem, explain who has the problem, explain why the problem is important, explain how you're solving it, and explain why it's better than the other existing solutions that people are currently doing. Being clear, being easily understood, being simple and straightforward trumps pretty much everything else. There is a reason to this, and you should always ask why, to drill down and whittle down to the most simple possible thing that you can say. When you see people who give presentations and they have slides, usually it implies that the thing that they're saying is so complicated that they can't communicate it effectively without having like a background of 500 words. That's bad. The right way to give a presentation, if you have slides, is to have one idea per slide and nothing more. Every time you've seen someone have a slide that says, oh, okay, here are the 17 points of why we're so beneficial to people. That's noise. Everyone's going to forget it. Don't bother, right? One idea per slide if you're going to do anything. This is important in most of life, whether you're presenting to a venture capitalist, whether you're presenting for investment, whether you're presenting anything to anyone at any point in time. If it cannot be absorbed because it is not simple enough, you have lost. Keep things simple, keep things straightforward. And if you have to use slides, unlike me, because this guy doesn't need slides because I do this, keep it simple. Great, that's it. That's the entire presentation. Any questions? I'm not even joking. That's actually it. So once again, PTSD. Talk about the problem, explain it very simply so anyone can understand who doesn't work in the industry. Talk about your target. Who's actually having the problem? Is it the bike messenger who's supposed to take the food from point A to point B? Is it the person who cannot seem to get the food because they have no idea where the availability of food stamps or the food banks that they're trying to reach are? Identify the person and then put the audience that you are talking to into their shoes so they understand the perspective. Talk about the target, or be aware of the target, because sometimes you're going to have a target audience that's completely different from who you're speaking to. So when you're speaking to a judging panel and it's all scientists and white lab coats, you're going to have to explain the context of the target that you are solving the problem for to them so that they understand. If I'm a scientist in a white lab coat and I don't understand what it is to be homeless and hungry, you're going to have to contextualize that so that you can make me understand that. So the solution, once again, it's more important to show off what you have built and the problem that it solves and how it solves it, rather than to talk about how great it's going to be. Don't care. You're going to say you're going to rescue 50,000 people from poverty. Fantastic. How? And then actually demo. Demoing and showing off what you've built is actually the secret to winning most hackathons. After having run hundreds, literally you can win by having a good designer. You can win most judging panels just by looking really, really slick. You've built vapor on the back end, design will win.
Shaharris, I have a
Go.
quick question though. So what advice would you give to a team that is full of business students, right? We understand the problem that we're trying to solve, but like we lack the technical background to explain how
do not.
exactly.
You absolutely do not. Why? Because WYSIWYG editors exist.
Mhm.
There are so many website builders out there that do not require. There's bubble.io, there's flutterflow.io, there's tons. You can build the thing. If you can explain the mechanism behind how something works, you don't have to explain the technology. Like, I know how the TV works. Some lady 500 miles away has a camera. That camera is plugged into a wire, and whatever she does on that camera, I get to see on my flat box. That's the mechanism. I don't need to know the bits and bytes and like how many diodes and transistors that has to go through in order to get to my screen.
Mhm. But we did a demo using Figma, right? So we can just stick with that and explain
If you
like
do a
every
demo
step
using
of,
Figma, the
sorry?
problem ends up being that you haven't built something. The idea of a hackathon is to have a working prototype at the end of it.
Yeah, but we, as I mentioned, right, we're addressing this as a business team, right? Um,
I don't know what addressing it as a business team right means. So
so
give me a
so
little
we
context.
we are addressing the hackathon from a, how can I say, consultant perspective, right? We don't have any coders in our team. Is most of us, like, we are in supply chain, we are into sustainability, so we understand that okay, there's a problem that we can definitely address.
So
But
you're
now,
hitting the problem not with here's a technology solution to solve the problem, but here's a framework to like help me out here.
okay,
What are
so
you actually trying to solve?
at this moment, right, we are looking at traceability and food sustainability. These are the challenges that we have our mind in place, right? So we decided to build an app that focuses. I really prefer not to give too much specifics, right? Because our team is still working on
Because
it.
someone will steal it from you, right?
Yeah. We
Right.
actually feel like it's a very great idea, but I can hint that is we're on the trying to reduce the food on the from the household perspective, the food waste from the household
Being
perspective.
vague won't help you.
Sorry?
In being vague won't help you in general, right? Because trying to explain to me in very vague terms what you're working on is difficult. I can talk to you afterwards if like for your
Yeah,
specific thing. I
that
don't
would be
mind that.
great.
But once again, I said four things: problem, target, solution, and then demo. If you can't demo something and show it off at a hackathon, it's fine to be entirely a business oriented team because there's so many tools available to you to show an audience how something would work or
Mhm.
should work, right? If you're taking two parts of a market in a tri-market, or sorry, in a tripartite market, and you have three characters, right? Like you've got your donors, you've got your charities, and then you've got your beneficiaries. If you can show the relationships and how whatever it is that you're creating addresses the needs of all three, and then explaining the context around it, as in why that problem exists, how it's being solved for each party or whatever, then you're okay. You don't have to build a technology solution 100%, but you'd better show what the mechanics are. Does that answer?
Yeah, you did. You did. Thanks.
Iron Tootin. All right. Anybody else? Pop questions. Now's the time.
We have a question in chat from Syed. He's saying, "What
Can't
are
hear
your
you, but
expectations?"
okay. How do I get to chat? Oh, I click this button. Fantastic. What are my expectations in terms of hold on a second. I'm secretly attending the meeting while I'm in class. Hell yeah, King. That's what I'm talking about. And then we have what time on the 29th? I don't know. Ask your hackathon organizers. What are your expectations in terms of how depth the demo has to be or how much information it should be? Everything that I said earlier, Said Fayaz Rahman Oyon, is exact, like keep it hyper simple. I should understand what you are solving. I should understand who you are solving it for. I should understand how you're solving it. And then you should show me everything that you just said. So you only have 3 minutes. 3 minutes means you don't get to talk about the life story of the person that you're solving the problem for. You get to talk about, like, this is their context. Here's what they face on a daily basis. Here's why it's bad for them. And here's the thing that I built and how it's going to make all of those bad things go away. Keep it hyper simple. If you leave your judges with more questions than answers, on the one hand, that's a good thing because now I'm curious. Now I need to understand what's going on and how you're solving this problem more. If I'm asking that because I've seen a glimpse of what you're doing and I understand it, but now I want to know more about the solution, fine. If the questions I have are, I don't understand what you're trying to accomplish here, and I don't see the mechanism by which your solution is helping people, those are the wrong questions to fill me with. Is it possible to connect with me to review your teamwork later on? No, I'm a judge. You can ask me general demo and presentation questions. I cannot, because I'm judging your hackathon. It would be unfair for me to actually say, hey, I have a pre-existing relationship where I have more of an understanding of the thing that you've built than any of the other teams. That is not fair. So once again, I'm happy to mentor, but just like I think his name is Tyrese, while I can speak to you about things related to demo, I cannot give you specific feedback on your actual, and I don't want to see it, because if that happens, then I have more exposure to it and I understand it better than every other 3-minute demo. That does not keep a level playing field. Hopefully that answers the question.
Yeah, it sounds perfect. So, quick question. So, how do you identify a winning team?
When all of the things that I mentioned are extremely clear, and versus all of the other demos. So there's something called Hackathon demo calibration. If there are 10 demos and I only see the first demo, I have no idea how to score that very first demo that I saw. I don't know if like it's a 10 and everything else is a 1. Until I see all of the demos, I cannot decide with any sort of calibrated understanding what the rankings should be. So unfortunately, I kind of have to see almost every demo in order to answer which one ideally is the best. In simple terms, though, the simplest answers to complex problems that make many things go away very specifically and can actually make a problem go away is very rare. People try and solve problems that are huge. I'm going to solve poverty. Oh, okay. I'm gonna make sure that kid standing on the sidewalk on the corner over there has a pizza to eat so he doesn't go hungry that night. I can solve that one thing. I can concretely make that one problem go away. I can't solve poverty because it's huge. It's systemic. There's generational monies. It's the government. There's a poor welfare system. Too many things. Keep it hyper simple. Make a problem go away. Ideally, if that problem is impactful enough to warrant a change in life, that is good. If you can make someone go from hungry to not hungry, holy crap, that's awesome. Would it be preferable to do the demo in a live setting physically or just through a Zoom, or does any work? That is a question for your hackathon organizers. I'm quite sure that the first stack of your preliminary stuff is online, and like these are logistics questions for your organizers. Sorry, Said.
Are prototypes that you've judged in the past that have become a product that we can take a look at?
No. The vast majority of hackathons die out without anything surviving past. I think there's only like 1 or 2 hackathons that have actually run where the products are still in existence. One of them sold to the Supreme Court of Utah. One of them sold to one of them is this, man, I ran this hackathon once called Dementia Hack. Super great. We had like a professional venture-backed hackathon team that came along that had like 8 years of working together as a team. They just blew everything away. It was amazing. There are very, very few things that survive a hackathon. The vast majority of you are students. The vast majority of you will go back to classes. Hackathons used to be a really cool launch platform for people who wanted to show off their startup. So a team would come together, fake doing the work, and then end up blitzkrieging everything else because they were so damn polished. And it was obvious that they'd spent like 2 years on something. That time has come and gone. Hackathons are so commonplace now, and they don't have the amount of amp and hype as that they used to. You will find very, very few things in existence post-hackathon because there are usually very few structures after the hackathon to help maintain the existence of an entity. That was a terrible answer to a very simple question.
So questions are Shaharris as well. So do you think showmanship and presentation is more important when doing the pitch in person?
No. For me, once again, the most critical and important thing in any sort of demo, in any sort of presentation, is the understanding of the person who's listening to you. You can be flashy, you can be entertaining, I'll remember you. But if your idea was crap because I couldn't understand it, or your idea was crap because it was crap, that won't affect, at least for me as a judge, whether or not I think your solution is better than the 9 other solutions that I was evaluating. Right? You can have a wonderful personality, so charming, so warm, so captivating, but you just talked about murdering like millions of Jews. Like I cannot get behind that idea. Right? There's showmanship does play a part in captivating and keeping people's attention, right? But the substance of what you have will trump everything else. And I said trump intentionally to trigger all of you. Make sense?
Yes, sir. All right. So how about when we're doing the pitch? Does it give more weightage when we're doing a video recording beside us or showing our video recording, or is an in-person pitch way better?
Live is always better. Live, real, visceral. If I show you a pre-recorded video, what was the point of me being there in the first place? Right? Live is the capacity to deal with whatever is happening. Live means familiarity of what you're talking about. I have no script for this quote unquote presentation. I'm talking to you from 11 years of running hackathons and 11 years of running rooms of like VC judges, PhDs, lawyers, heads of state, ministers, of running these judging panels. I don't need to pre-prepare this information because I know it so well and I have it. Therefore, that's the confidence that I can exude without needing any sort of backup, any sort of help. If you can do that in a pitch, damn, that's a confidence builder. Wow, you really know the problem. Wow, you really know who you're solving for. You really know your technology. That is impressive. That gives you confidence in the team members. The flash, the pizzazz, the now I'm going to show you magic is like that's great. I mean, Chris Angel me all you want. It doesn't solve the poverty issue.
All right. Thank you. Thank you so much, Shaharris.
Sure. Any other questions? Where do babies come from? I can't answer that. I have no idea. No one will tell me. I've been asking everyone, and it's so frustrating. Someone said Walmart. Someone said Amazon. And I'm like, oh, come on. You know, where did babies come before Walmart? I don't know.
Hey, sure.
Yo.
What is your take on this year's hackathon?
Clarify your question. I don't understand your question. Like, what's my take?
So what is your take on this year's hackathon challenges? In terms of like we have 5 categories, food transparency, food sustainability, retail innovative solutions.
I had worked with the team a little bit, and on specifically the challenge set development, the way that interestingly enough, the problem set and challenge set nomenclature came from me, which Mark adopted, which is pretty cool because that's how I ran Dementia Hack. Most hackathons are ideation sessions. It's like, here's a big ocean, go find a problem and solve it, right? Introduction of challenge sets, having very specific hackathons where there are problems that we're trying to solve, was only a relatively recent development. And like, I say relatively recent, but I'm like 10 years ago. And the importance of the challenge sets is to hone in and help you solve your targets, because most people don't understand the problem that they're trying to solve from the view of a person who is experiencing that problem. It's like an external thing, right? We've had hackathon teams that are like, oh, I'm going to solve food insecurity in Cuba. And when they take out their Android phones and their iPhones and they do these things, and yeah, currently we're only working with iPhone and Mac platforms and iOS, et cetera, but they missed the mark because this is many years ago. Cubans didn't have iPhones. Like they didn't have the network infrastructure and capacity for that amount of bandwidth and data, and like people were poor, so they had like they had Nokias. So the mismatch of the problems that are being solved and the people who are having the problems is like a comically farcical crapathon. So with this hackathon in particular, and all the hackathons that I've ever run, I've tried to hone it down to making sure that the problems that you're solving are real and experienced by people who have said problems. So we've brought a lot of consultants who are from said industry, who are literally working with the homeless, working with the food insecure, et cetera. So I think it's quite well-rounded. You have the perspectives of people who deal with this day in and day out. You need to hit up your mentors. The biggest problem with hackathoning isn't the lack of pizzazz, flash presentation, coolness of technology. It's I don't understand the person who's having this problem, and I'm not solving the real problem that they have. I'm solving the problem I think they have, which is bad. Don't think no. Does that answer your question, Tyrese?
Yeah, yes, you did.
Did I pronounce your name even close to correctly?
Yo, you did.
All right.
Tyrese, yeah.
Because I could have pronounced it Tyrese. You just put a little accent on the E.
Yeah. It's Tyrese.
My name is Shaharris, and I regularly get emails that are for Shakira Harris. And like 2 days ago, I was sent an email about an employment verification company, and they're like, "We have to give Von Teese Flowers a job, and we need to know whether she's actually a citizen. Please, here's her social security number. Tell us what you know about this lady." And I'm like, I am more than anyone else in the world, I've been confused for a black lady, like just all the time, because Harris is a super black last name. So Shakira Harris, Shaniqua Harris, Shanae Harris, etc. All of their emails come to me, and so I do on a regular basis. I'm the employment approval person for like dozens of people. It's random and comical, and I'm saying these things because none of you are asking me questions.
You have
We have
your
a question
profile
in chat.
picture.
Oh,
Let's see.
Sorry.
So being like Gob Bluth, Bob Bluth from Arrested is an I don't remember. I can't remember watching Arrested Development. It was a funny show though. Can I say if I could solve a problem, it is good enough, and it doesn't need to be a huge problem? You can. You can do anything. I believe in you. You can do anything you want to do. Whether or not it'll win a hackathon, I cannot say for sure. So once again, I think that if you can find a problem that matters to one of the people that you're solving it for, and you can actually concretely solve it to make it go away, that is much better than I'm spending $1 billion in cancer research and I've accomplished nothing, but give me another $1 billion and one day I'll give you something. Impact is important, and immediate and direct impact is what hackathon demos should demonstrate, right? The boil the ocean thing doesn't work when the 9 other demos next to you are showcasing things that will solve a problem tomorrow. Try and solve something small enough that you can solve in the tomorrow, in the next week, in the month, rather than in 17 years' time, once we've actually built a giant megalomaniac, huge, super important company, and then it'll go away. People think I'm 25 because in Ubers I say hella a lot. I'm not. I'm hella old. Cognitive dissonance. Questions?
Yeah. So quick question though. So should our solution be tailored to solve a retailer problem? Like, let's say, for example, we're building this technology for Costco to implement on their system that will help reduce food waste.
Should? That is a question only you can answer. Is that what you want to solve for? Go ahead. It's part of a challenge set. Why not?
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah. Once again, you want to be able to demonstrate impact and the capacity of something to be adopted, right? If it's a thing that Costco could realistically think, oh, you know what, this can actually fit into our systems. This is something that could super reduce food waste, and it's not going to cost us $16 million a month to incorporate. Sure, why not? But if it's we're going to build a rocket ship, and then we're going to take all of the food waste, and we're going to blast it into the sun. I mean, I guess that's what SpaceX is for. Subtle dig. No? Okay. That's fine. Don't clap. Claire, please.
Hi, Shaharris. What would you say to people who have been trying to generate an idea but have been spending a lot of time trying to connect with their group members and struggling to get a cohesive idea or communication style together?
You've asked me, I think, 3 things. Number 1, what would I say to somebody who's struggling with an idea or struggling to ideate, right?
Yeah.
2, struggling to communicate with group members.
Mm-hmm.
And 3, struggling to communicate in general. You said something about communication style. I'm not sure what the question was behind that.
I think like my team keeps being given different group members, and we reach out in multiple communication channels and don't hear back from those group members. And then sometimes we hear back from group members, but we're trying to get them all on the same communication channel so that we can actually. Sorry?
How large is your group?
Currently, I'd say 3.5.
3.5.
Because
Go
I'm
to
not sure about
and you'll
somebody
be in
right
better
now.
shape. Do not rely on unreliable people, and do not hope that unreliable people will magically change and become reliable. If people are uncommunicative and they have a lot of stuff going on, and it's totally fine, right? Like life gets in the way sometimes. Be okay with that and move on. The hardest thing to do is to try and coordinate a team that doesn't actually want to be coordinated. I wouldn't bother with that, and you don't have enough time to solve those sorts of problems.
Yeah.
With regards to communication channels, pick one, stick to it, and if other people are unwilling to stick to it, find other team members. Usually you want to go with the thing that most people use. If everyone is on WhatsApp, there's no point trying to migrate everyone to Google Chat.
Yeah.
Just use the WhatsApp. You're already communicating that way, right? So for the communication side of things, it doesn't help to be forceful. Nobody wants to work with a jerk. That's why no one wants to work with me. I'm joking. I have a great team. You want to find people who have the same kinds of motivation. It's easier to align people who want the same thing than to try and convince someone to want a thing.
Mm-hmm.
You will have a much better time looking for people to join you who care about the thing that you're doing enough to not have to be cattle prodded, right? Don't make life hard for yourself. On the ideation front, spend less time thinking about what to solve. Spend more time looking into the people that you're trying to solve something for. The more you understand their situation, the more you understand their daily life and their challenges, talk to your mentors. Like, talk to them. That's why they're here. Find out the struggles that they have. That's the thing that'll help you generate insight. That's the thing that'll help you generate, hey, you know what? If this is a problem and this is a problem, well, I know how to do this. Maybe I can make those two things go away, right?
Mm.
It's hard to come from a place of blank slate. When you have a blank canvas in front of you and someone says paint, uh, uh, should I paint a house? Should a landscape? Maybe a fat guy holding a fishing rod. Like, I don't know. But if someone says, go take a 2 hour walk in nature, and then they say paint, you're like, I got the most beautiful waterfall. I'm so ready for this. Paint, 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 paint. So go find nature, go find the environment, go find the people, go find the context, and the problems will naturally emerge. And your own life experience and knowledge can help you find a lens into that. And when you're unsure if that lens is actually applicable, you get to ask the people whether this has been tried. I'll give you an example. Dementia hack. So many times you hear these stories about people who have Alzheimer's, and dementia is a suite of neurocognitive issues and disorders. It's not a specific disease. It's like the umbrella term for many diseases related to cognitive function and mental health and memory. So many times we have stories of people who have Alzheimer's who are like wandering the streets because they think they're in 1940, and so they're just wandering around. They're confused by all these space age looking vehicles around, and they're wandering. The number of teams that have come up with, oh, we're gonna put a GPS tracker on Grandpa, and then when Grandpa wanders, we're gonna hook him and we're gonna bring him back. Yay! And we're gonna do it in a bracelet. And you know what? You can't take the bracelet off. So Grandpa is gonna have a. Unfortunately, when Grandpa believes he's in the 1940s and he sees this weird metallic looking, iWatch, Apple Watch thing, and it's this and Grandpa takes a knife and cuts off the thing. So you want to better understand the real problem and the context of it beyond just the technology solution. Your ideation is not about creativity, it's about resourcefulness.
Mm.
Ideas come from research, not from pot. Like it's my goodness, go on an acid trip. Great, sure. It'll give you fun and imaginative stuff. Will it be relevant? Probably not. Hopefully that helps, Claire.
Yeah, thank you so much.
I like how all the examples I have are weird and awkward. Just like me.
I do have a question. So a part of this hackathon is basically to also be welcoming to non-technical participants, right?
Sure.
And let's say we present a solution, a process improvement solution, like we're changing an org's process from a waterfall to an agile development model, right? So how what would be the best way to go about demoing this, since demos are pretty important, right?
Implementation. Oh, okay. You should change all of your processes from A to B. Great. Show me how. What is step one? Everyone's going to use Calendly. We're no longer going to use Google Calendar because screw you, Google Calendar. Calendly all the time. Okay, what will this change? What is the outcome? So once again, even if you're non-technical, the demo is a demonstration of a thing that you built. Even if you did, you can build with Lego. There are tons of WYSIWYG. What you see is what you get. WYSIWYG editors and site builders, etc., out there. Right? Do that. But show something.
Perfect. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
We have a question from Richard saying, since this is a food hackathon, what is your favorite food and why, Shaharris?
My favorite food is Thai, made from real Thai people, by real Thai people. Ah! No, feelings. Feelings is the soup du jour. I regularly eat all of my feelings, and after that, I cry for 3 hours in the fetal position, and then I eat some more. It is difficult not drowning in a puddle of your own tears in the bathroom. You see, all I'm seeing, like, no one is laughing because you're all just names on the. Thanks for not turning on your videos and making all of my jokes really awkward, more so than normal. Gosh, I hope
I'm
Mark doesn't
laughing.
watch this video.
I'm
Gotcha,
laughing,
gotcha,
Shaharris. I
gotcha.
just had one
Gotcha.
thing.
Yeah.
Okay, so when you say this hackathon, the participants here are doing it, most of the participants are doing it for the first time. What do you suggest? How would they go when you say a 3 minute demonstration and they just narrow it down to as simple as they can, right? To
Yes.
explain and what you got and what the problem is and what is the audience targeted, right? So how would you go about it if it's your first hackathon, since you have been very experienced? So
The
what do you
extremely,
suggest to them?
okay. Most hackathon demos will fail because of a lack of communication and the capacity to get your idea across effectively. Why is that? It's because it's crazy difficult to be simple. The irony of it's super, super easy for me to write 600 pages of nothing. It is crazy difficult to write one sentence that has pure and true meaning for everything. I'm working on a tech charity right now called needlist.org. The simplest version that I came up with, it took me like 3 months. It's Amazon wish list, but for homeless shelters, right? So instead of I'm going to donate $10 to a charity and have no idea how that's spent, that charity is going to make a list of things that they need. Let's call it diapers for a women's shelter. Donors will come along and contribute towards those diapers. But wait, I don't give that money to the charity. No, I hold that money in escrow. I buy the diapers. I deliver the diapers. At the end of the day, if you donate $10 for diapers, $10 of diapers is what gets delivered. You have no questions as to how your money is being spent. Is it going into marketing? Is it going into a $200,000 director's salary? You have no idea when you're donating blind money to a Sick Kids Foundation, etc. 40% of the money that you give when someone is canvassing you on the street disappears into the pocket of the for-profit company hired to do that fundraising on day one. So it took me months to get to Amazon wishlist for homeless shelters. Crazy difficult. I can give you a 25-minute spiel explaining all the little unimportant, but drilling down to the hyper simple thing, that is the hard part. If I were doing my very first hackathon, I would narrow down the problem to such a degree that it was completely bulletproof. I'm solving one simple, what is the problem I'm solving with needlist.org? Know exactly how your money is spent. Who is it actually helping? Charities. I'm helping charities get the stuff that they need for free so they can focus on mission, not marketing. That took literally 3 months, right? If you want to narrow down the problem to a very simple thing, it means that you have to become an expert at that problem. You have to be so smart to be able to defend that one problem from everything, and that requires research, understanding, insight, and patience. The pre-work is more important than the actual hackathon. if you have a problem that's so broad, that has so many different facets and so much difficulty related to it, you're not even sure who you're solving the problem for anymore. When you try and sit and build a thing, it's like 700 different permutations of what you could be building. You don't have clarity. Solve your problems up front by solving the problem up front, by narrowing it down. So PLDR, hyper simplify until you're solving something so specific that you only have to build something this big, not this big.
So basically, converting the problem from higher form to the lowest form they can, right?
Lowest, most impactful form. The simple mechanic of needlist.org isn't I'm creating a wish list. It's the I'm holding the money and using it to buy things so that no one has to wonder how the money is being spent. Like that's the special magical little transparency thing that literally no one else is doing. Right? And we're a charity, so we're in like there's so many benefits. I'm a charity, therefore I'm instantly issuing these tax receipts so you don't have to wait until February to be able to send something to your accountant and get your tax credit, right? I'm helping suppliers because normally if you buy something off of an Amazon wish list, let's say you have 50 items on Amazon wish list and 50 different people buy it, that's potentially 50 different delivery trucks. Well, hold on. How do I solve that for the supplier? I'm only going to be doing one shipment. I'm going to collect donations for an entire month. Let's say there's 50 of them. And only at the deadline do I make one order. That's one delivery truck. The carbon footprint for the supplier and the logistics headache required shrinks down to one truck, one driver. But is that important to talk about? No, because that doesn't specifically relate to I'm helping the charity become more financially resilient by hooking them up with a really simple, transparent platform that builds donor trust, since donors now don't have to question how the money is being spent. They know exactly how it's being spent, and it's simple to use, right? So narrow down and solve the problem that's of the most impact. Your one simple solution can have so many other. We, just by using our platform, you immediately shut down like 250 different kinds of fraud because the money doesn't change hands, right? Like, there's no invoice inflation because we're a third party that's automating all of these processes. You can't be like, hey, Bob, we need 3 toilets. I'm going to need you to invoice me for 7 so that we can get more money. I'll give you a cut. I'll give you some kickbacks. That's impossible to happen. I don't even remember what question I'm answering, but it sounded cool.
You're going in the right direction. Gotcha.
Yeah, so all right, I think that's it for the time we have with you, Shaharris. So everyone here will be
Oh, so you're going to try and get
receiving
rid of me. Oh, okay, that's
yes,
fine. Yeah, no, I see how it is. No love.
No, but we thank you so much, Shaharris, for the time that you gave. It was very insightful, and
Sure.
we hope that this helps everyone else here for their entry for the hackathon.
Sure.
Now,